YouTube friends, this is the incredible story of Freddie Oversteegen, the 14-year-old girl who traveled on her bicycle to kill Nazis. Please support us by liking and subscribing to the channel. The 14-year-old girl who seduced Nazis to execute them. Freddie Oversteegen was 14 years old when she joined the Dutch resistance. Although with her long dark hair and braids, she looked younger. When she cycled through the streets of Haarlem in the northern Netherlands with firearms hidden in a basket, Nazi officials rarely stopped to question her. When she walked through the woods, serving as a lookout, or seductively leading her SS target to a secluded spot, there were few signs that she carried a pistol and was preparing an execution. The Dutch resistance was believed to be the effort of men in a man's war. If women were involved, it was thought they were likely doing little more than distributing anti-German pamphlets or newspapers. However, Freddie Oversteegen and her sister, Truus 2 years older than her, were rare exceptions. A pair of teenagers who took up arms against the Nazi occupiers and Dutch traders on the outskirts of Amsterdam. Along with Hannie Schaft, a law student with fiery red hair, they sabotaged bridges and railway lines with dynamite, shot Nazis while using their bicycles, and wore disguises to hide Jewish children across the country and sometimes outside of concentration camps. Perhaps their most daring acts were seducing their Nazi targets in taverns or bars, asking if they wanted to go for a walk in the woods, and liquidating them. As Oversteegen put it, "We had to do it," she told an interviewer. It was a necessary evil, killing those who betrayed good people. When asked how many people she had killed or helped kill, she objected, "One should not ask a soldier or anything like that." Freddie Oversteegen, the last member of the most famous female resistance cell in the Netherlands, died on September 5th, a day before her 93rd birthday. She lived in a nursing home in Drehuis, 8 kilometers from Haarlem, and suffered several heart attacks in recent years, said Jeroen Pleester, chairman of the Hannie Schaft National Foundation. The organization was founded by Oversteegen's sister in 1996 to promote the legacy of Schaft, who was captured and executed by the Nazis weeks before the end of World War II. Schaft became the national icon of female resistance, Pleester said, a martyr whose story was taught to schoolchildren in the Netherlands and commemorated in a 1981 film, The Girl with the Red Hair, which took its title from her nickname. Oversteegen served as a board member in her sister's organization, but she decided to stay a bit out of the spotlight, Pleester said, and was sometimes overshadowed by Schaft and Truus, the group's leader. "I have always been a little envious because she received so much attention after the war," Oversteegen told Vice Netherlands in 2016, referring to her sister. "But then I just thought, I was also in the resistance. It was," she said, "a source of pride and pain, a 5-year experience she never regretted, but that came to haunt her in times of peace." Late at night, unable to fall asleep, she sometimes remembered the words of an old battle song that served as an anthem for her and her sister. "We have carried the best to their graves, torn and shot, beaten until the blood ran, surrounded by the executioners on the scaffold, and in jail, but the enemies. Fury does not frighten us." Freddie Nunda Oversteegen was born in the village of Schoten, now part of Haarlem, on September 6, 1925. Her parents divorced when she was a child, and Freddie and Truus were raised primarily by their mother, a communist who instilled in them a social sense. Freddie Oversteegen recalled that her mother encouraged them to make dolls for children suffering in the Spanish Civil War, and that in the early 1930s, they volunteered for Red Aid, a kind of communist Red Cross, for political prisoners around the world. Although they lived in poverty, sleeping on makeshift mattresses stuffed with straw, the family sheltered refugees from Germany and Amsterdam, including a Jewish couple and a mother and son who lived in their attic. After German forces invaded the Netherlands in May 1940, the couples were moved elsewhere. Jewish community leaders feared a possible attack due to the family's political leanings. "They were all deported and murdered," Oversteegen said. "We never heard from them again. It still moves me terribly every time I talk about it." Oversteegen and her sister began their resistance careers by distributing pamphlets. "The Netherlands has to be free," and hanging anti-Nazi posters for every Dutchman working in Germany. A German will go to the front. Their efforts apparently caught the attention of Franz van der Wil, commander of the Haarlem Resistance Council, who invited them to join his team, with their mother's permission. Only later did he tell us what we really had to do. "Sabotage bridges and railway lines," Truus Oversteegen recounted. We told him we would like to do that, and learn to shoot Nazis, he added. I remember my sister saying to me, well, that's something I've never done before. It was Freddie Oversteegen who became the first to shoot and kill someone. It was tragic and very difficult, and we cried about it, Truist said. We didn't think we would adapt. No one adapts to that, unless they are true criminals. One loses everything. It poisons the beautiful things in life. The Oversteegen sisters were officially part of a 7-person resistance cell, which grew to include an 8th member, Shaft, who joined in 1943. But the 3 girls worked mainly as an independent unit, Pleister said, following the instructions of the Resistance Council. After the war ended in 1945, Truist worked as an artist, making paintings and sculptures inspired by her years with the resistance, and wrote a popular memoir, Not Then, Not Now, Not Ever. She died in 2016, 2 years after Prime Minister Mark Rutte awarded the sisters the Mobilization War Cross, a military honor for their service in World War II. For her part, Freddie Oversteegen mentions that she coped with the traumas of war by marrying and having babies. She married Jan Decker, taking the name Freddie Decker Oversteegen, and raised 3 children. She is survived by them, as well as her half-brother and 4 grandchildren. Her husband, who worked at the steel company Hugevens, has passed away. In interviews, Freddie Oversteegen often spoke of the physics of killing, not the feel of the trigger or the kick of the gun, but the inevitable collapse that follows, the falling of her victims to the ground. Yes, she told an interviewer, according to the Dutch newspaper, I Gemoeder, Courant, I have fired a gun and seen them fall. And what is inside us at that moment? You want to help them get up.